Taking inspiration from a scene from the novel Burial Rites, written by Hannah Kent, I created my own original piece with reference to the rivalry between Siga and Agnes at Illugas Tadir. I chose the character Siga to investigate because I felt that she was one of the least spoken about characters in the novel. Her real motives and desires are never explicitly explained by Kent, which is why I felt compelled to explore her persona more, to investigate the inner motivations of her character. Throughout my endeavour to create an extension of Siga's personality, I morphed her to not be as dumb and pretty as her peers are falsely led to believe. I represent Siga to be internally smart and cunning, like Natan, only her facade is a pretty face and an innocent outlook, which allows her to achieve her aims. In my story, Siga speaks in first person, like Agnes does in the novel, so that we get to know her true motivations and desires. She is fully aware of her own attractiveness and actively exploits it, as she lives in a patriarchal world, where women's only value is their roles as worker, mother, or status symbol. In my story, she knows the power of her prettiness. The central motif of my story is the notion of the sea and tides, as is fitting on an island. Siga describes her prettiness as being like a tide, in that sometimes its power ebbs, but always it returns. She also implies that it can be dangerous, like the sea. Natan is powerful and mysterious and dangerous, and his moods are also directly compared to the sea, where his metaphorical tides of anger cause her distress, but recede and leave her loving him again. Her link is made clear in that she also pictures her feelings as being like tides. Ironically, her facade of weakness and submission is revealed in my story to actually conceal a determined will, which makes her more like Agnes than we might have assumed. I am trying to suggest that all the women in the novel have their own strengths, which they are mostly not able to utilize, and that Siga finds the only truly acceptable means of being powerful. Siga's main attribute in the novel is her prettiness and her apparent submission. I make clear that she exploits this deliberately through repeated references to her own appeal. Like in Burial Rites, I include a flashback, not mentioned in the novel, where Siga is advised to not waste what you have got, and where her porcelain face gets her food from a besotted young man. It is there to explain how she developed her apparently submissive persona, because it helps her survive in the harsh world of Iceland. She suggests she deliberately adopts the pretty face and vacant eyes that conform to male ideals of womanhood. The ending of my story links back to the core text in that she effectively seduces Natan by her physical presence, using her own knowledge of sea lavender to be attractive to him. She acknowledges that she doesn't need to say anything to control him, just be silent and be pretty. In conclusion, Siga believes that her beauty will prevail over Agnes's intelligence. I wrote this piece in first person, which enabled me to step into the shoes of the character and to appropriately convey their perspective, ideas, and emotions. I found that that this brought out the true power and truthfulness behind the emotions that I was trying to portray.